Welcome back to another episode of the Nerf Report. We have 6 brand new games to talk about. The Game Awards were this week, and there are so many trailers, announcements, and awards that we have to talk about on this week's show. Marvel Rivals is digging up the body of CONCORD and just punching its lifeless corpse. We got an update surrounding Grand Theft Auto 6. The Switch 2 may have leaked online. All of this and so much more on this week's extra large, do not miss, jam-packed episode of the Nerf Report.
Can you see me?
Let's just film the video.
Zip it! The ghost of Macho Man Randy Savage is here!
Oh my god! Yes, negativity sells, and it sure as hell makes clicking your thumbnails a lot easier. But I, as a gamer, as a nerd, as a creator, I am so tired of being upset for clicks.
Are you listening?
Ho, 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 ho!
Welcome back, strangers from distant lands and friends of old. We've been summoned here for another episode of the Nerf Report. Thank y'all so much for joining me. This is a crazy week. Like, I was going through the show notes for this week, and let alone, we could spend the entire episode just talking about the Game Awards, which, trust me, we're going to be diving into a lot about the announcements, who won what, some of the big key takeaways, along with some of the cringe, where we're going to be diving into that. But this week was nuts. I mean, Monday, we started off with the launch of Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. And I know last week I told y'all I would give you my thoughts. It is Game of the Year for me, right? Yes, not Game of the Year of like what won at the Game Awards, but for me, for what I've played this year, Helldivers 2 was very much like Game of the Year for me. But like, having played Indiana Jones, my God, Xbox has done it. Like, PlayStation used to be the platform where you'd have these single-player action-adventure games that the narrative and the story was so huge. And Xbox never really had those games, right? They tried, but they just couldn't hit like that Naughty Dog, that Sony Santa Monica level. Like, we could never really get to that point, but they've done it. You know, kudos to Machine Games, kudos to Xbox and everybody that worked on this. Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, if you haven't played it yet, I highly recommend you check it out. It's available on Xbox Game Pass, so literally the barrier of entry is extremely low to get in there. Plus, over on the Nerf Gaming Let's Play channel, we went ahead and posted our first reaction to like the intro of the game. And it was so clever to see like them build the intro to the mechanics of how you play the game into like the content that we already know, right? Like, you see the movie where you pull the ancient relic and then the ball's chasing you. That's literally how they teach you how to play the game. And I thought it was such a cool idea. And I think I'm 3 or 4 hours into the game at this point. Just exploring stuff, going after like various hidden treasures. And I love just the mechanics and kind of what you can do in the game. Like, you can literally pick up items and turn them into weapons. Like, I've been stealing people's biscotti. I'm stealing their fruit. I'm taking photos of cats. I didn't know I needed to do that. And like, I'm knocking out fascists as I'm fighting them. And I was playing with my wife the other night. She was sitting next to me on the couch watching me play the game. And I saw a statue light up, and I was like, I can lift up the statue. So I pick up the statue, and I chuck it at the guy's face, and she's like, oh my God, you literally killed that guy. And I was like, he's a fascist. He deserves it. I'm Indiana Jones. I live by no rules. But then, like, the other cool stuff is, like, I'm having fun with just setting up crime scenes. Like, I'm knocking out fascists, and, like, you have beer bottles. So I'm like, I'm going to stage a crime scene here. So I shatter a bunch of beer bottles over one fascist's heads, and then I go over to the fascist on the other side of the room, and I put a beer bottle in his hand, so it looks like he knocked out his friend, but then knocked out himself. Super cool game. I haven't beaten it yet. I'm probably going to be playing it all December, just enjoying the video game for what it is. So kudos to Xbox. Kudos to everybody that worked on Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. It is a fantastic game. I cannot recommend it anymore, and like, it is definitely worth checking out. Other news this week, I just wanted to say, we're going to continue growing this show. In case you missed it, Hot Ones interview show where people eat wings and talk to celebrities. Very, very clever show. Super fun to watch. BuzzFeed sold Hot Ones this week. I don't know if you missed it. $82 million. We're going to sell the Nerf Report. I'm putting it out there that Nerf Gaming News, Monkey Brain Entertainment, we're going to be the next one that pops up there. I know some people are like, whatever, dude. Like, you're filming the show in your garage. I am putting it out into the universe. I'm putting it out there. I want to have that moment. I obviously don't want to lose like creativity and lose like creative control, but I want to see that story one day where like we're selling Nerf Gaming News or we're selling Monkey Brain Entertainment for, let's throw a number out there, 50 million. 50 million is going to be the number. right? That's what it's going to take to take the ownership of this. And I don't know. It just gets, anytime I see internet shows grow up and get sold for that, it gives me hope for what we're doing here on this channel. So kudos to everybody over at Hot Ones. Well deserved, Sean. You're kicking ass over there. I cannot wait to have our chance to do that. But anyway, on to the show. Today's episode is brought to you ad-free thanks to the Nerf Gaming Friends. You too can be a Nerf Gaming friend, best friend, or casual friend, whichever one you would like to. Memberships start at the low price of $1.99, and that cost allows you to support the show along with supporting independent games media, which is something that is disappearing at a rapid rate right now. But also, it gives you access to our other show, The Daily, which is Daily Gaming News Roundup. Every single day we post a Daily Gaming News Roundup, giving you the news of the day, and then we come out here and we have kind of a more sophisticated conversation when it comes to gaming news. So anyway, thank you to all the Nerf Gaming News members who have helped the show. Special shout out to anyone who's purchased the new merch drop. We have our holiday merch drop, shirts, posters, all of that. Mine shows up this week, and I will definitely be wearing it next week's show, and for all holiday parties this year. Now, before we jump into the Game Awards and we dive into our first story, we do have a new game to introduce you to. This one was introduced during the Game Awards, and it is too cool and too nostalgic to just let it be hidden in its own section, so I wanted to give it the opportunity to breathe. It is a third-person cooperative shooter dinosaur hunting game from the past. That's right, Turock is back with Turock Origins. Jeff Keighley's Game Awards were this week, and my God, this might have been one of the best ones in recent memory. I mean, we got a ton of trailers, ton of announcements, ton of surprises at the show. Not a lot of hardware. I was thinking Nintendo would drop the bomb for the Switch too. We didn't see it this year, but you know, it's one of those, is like, does Nintendo really need the Game Awards, right? Nintendo could drop it tomorrow and it's going to be the biggest story of the day. But anyway, Game Awards, ton of cool stuff, a lot of cutscenes. A lot of cutscenes, not a lot of gameplay. That would probably be my only critique about it. But like, even the cutscenes we got, I was literally drooling, mouth wide open the entire time I was watching it. As far as the awards go, Astro Bot took home Game of the Year. Yeah, PlayStation's Astro Bot took home Game of the Year, along with 4 other awards from the night, making it the most awarded Game of the Year during the Game Awards. And I wanted to take a second to talk about this, because this is kind of a really cool thing for PlayStation, because the Astro Bots themselves were kind of just a throwaway, right? When the PlayStation, what was it, 3 or the 4? PlayStation 4 had the camera. You could make Astro Bots appear around you, and it was like, that's how they sold that mechanic and showing like AR technology with the PlayStation 4. And then when the PS5 came out, we got the Astro Bot like demo game to show off what the PlayStation DualSense can actually do. And it was a really good game. And then we saw Astro Bots get their own standalone game. So it's kind of been really neat to see this evolution for Sony, and like what was just kind of a side throwaway game is now one of the biggest games on the platform and one of the biggest games in the industry. So kudos to everybody over there. Metaphor Fantasio took home 3 wins. Black Myth Wukong took home 2 awards. Helldivers 2 took home 2 awards this year. Senua's Saga Hellblade 2 took 2, along with Best Performance for Senua. And Creator of the Year went to Queso. Congratulations to Queso. Big fan of your work over there. But those were like the big takeaways for the awards. And outside of that, I wanted to talk about the announcements and the trailers. Witcher 4. Holy crap balls. We got a trailer for Witcher 4. I did not expect this, and I did not have this on my bingo list. Essentially, this is going to be following Geralt's daughter, Ciri, and the graphics for this look incredible. Granted, again, it's not gameplay, it's all cutscenes, but it looks so beautiful. I'm all in for this. You know, Geralt pretty much like retired after like Blood and Wine, so it makes sense for his daughter to take over and like continue the series. But when you're watching this, it's so cinematic. Like the shadows and the flames and everything about this just looks super cool. And it really gets me questioning, like, what new powers is she going to have? Like, what new techniques are we going to be getting in this series, because it's a brand new hero? And how are they going to expand the series now that we have Ciri? I'm in. And this trailer ended in probably one of the most badass epic ways of the night, where like they're basically like, we had to kill this girl because of the gods. And Ciri looks into the camera and she's like, no gods here, only monsters. And I'm like, let's freaking go. Downside is no release date, which I think, I want to play this game tomorrow if it came out, but at the same time, we're talking CD Projekt Red here. So take your time. I do not want to see this game be another Cyberpunk 2077 where it's like half-baked at launch. Launch this game when it's ready. If it's 2027 when this game comes out, I will still be excited then. But Witcher 4 was announced. We also got a brand new football game from the people who made Sifu, which we're watching the trailer, right? And it's showing like the football mechanics and the soccer mechanics depending on where you're at. And I'm like, oh, this is cool. And it's like, from the studio that brought you Sifu. And I'm like, hold up, are we getting like a football version of Blitz where like I can like fight people? But that's not what this was at all. If anything, I genuinely would guess that this is like a little football game that they created internally, and they're like, let's try to see if we can like turn this into something. Like, we like playing it in the studio. Let's see what else we can do. But this is a 5v5 arcade-style football game. It looks extremely casual compared to, like, FIFA. But there's also the mechanic that you can bounce the ball off of the wall, which was giving me, like, blitzball feels. Anyway, Rematch looks awesome. No release date for it, but it does look super cool. We also got our first look at Split Fiction, which is a brand new game that is coming from Joseph Ferris and his team over at Hazelight. It's a co-op action adventure game. The story is you have two authors who get transported into the books that they're writing. One of them is sci-fi, one of them is fantasy, and you bounce between story and story. So you go from future to fantasy, you bounce back and forth. It's co-op, so you're playing either couch co-op or online with a friend, and this game literally has everything. You have wizards, trolls, snowboarding, dragons, futuristic robots, mermaids, speeder bikes, exosuits. We saw pigs get turned into hot dogs. Like, this is one of the games that I'm like, I cannot wait to play this. And really, I think what's super cool is what Hazelight does very well with their co-op games is if you buy the game once, you can play it with your friend for free. Right? Thanks to Friend Pass. You buy one copy of the game, you can play with your friends online. They don't have to own a copy of the game. I think that is such an awesome mechanic that more studios need to embrace. But anyway, Split Fiction will be launching on March 6th of 2025. I think I, for one, will be playing this the day it launches. And I'm going to be putting my wife to the test. She's not a big gamer, but I'm going to be playing it with her. We got a new trailer for Splitgate 2. This is the Portal Halo combo. The game looks so athletic. It looks fast-paced. It looks fun. Releasing in 2025. We got a brand new trailer for Borderlands 4, which is obviously the classic looter shooter that we've come to love. But it looks like, I don't know. I made a note after watching this. It just looks so grown up, right? This was one of the very few games that we got gameplay, and I was just like, man, Borderlands looks like it's so grown up now. And not in the sense that like kids can't play this game. I mean, like, the series knows who it is. The series isn't like, oh, we're still trying to find our footing. It's like, no, this is Borderlands. We know what Borderlands is. We know what Borderlands fans like, and we're going to be giving it to them. And I think that was just so cool. I mean, we saw new weapons, we saw new Vault Hunters, and I just looked at it, and I'm like, yeah, this is what a Borderlands game should be. And I can't wait to play it. No official release date here, just the release window of 2025. We got a brand new Ninja Gaiden video game called Ninja Gaiden Ragebound. Side-scrolling classic is returning in the summer of 2025. And I'm really surprised that we're not seeing more games come back. Like, side-scrolling was such a big part of my childhood. And when you look at like the games that I'm playing right now, very few side-scrollers out there. So hopefully we see more of this, and hopefully Ragebound is a success for the studio, which causes more people to follow up. Helldivers 2 dropped a brand new trailer for their DLC expansion, Omens of Tyranny, last night. Obviously, this is bringing on the new enemy, the Illuminate, who we've been talking about since the game launched. They have finally arrived in the game. They destroyed Super Earth, which I think brings a really cool mechanic here. We are going to be fighting on Super Earth. So no more like open fields. We're going to be fighting in urban environments, brand new enemies. And the gameplay footage we saw in this trailer reminded me so much of like classic Call of Duty Zombies, where you're just fighting hordes of enemies. And again, I I love this game. This was my game of the year up until I played Indiana Jones. So I will definitely be checking out this DLC. Also got a brand new vehicle in game. So no more like walking from activity to activity where you just feel like it's a walking simulator. Now you can drive. Thank you. I think that's a great improvement to the game, and cannot wait to check this out. It looks fantastic. So Helldivers 2, Omens of Tyranny, definitely do not sleep on that one. Then we get a brand new Game of Thrones game, which I don't know if it's just because I'm like playing Indiana Jones now and like we have, Game of Thrones showing up, but I'm kind of like, man, are we going back to the Hollywood era of video games when like TV shows and movies come out, we get video games with them anyway. But anyway, this trailer is a brand new action RPG that has White Walkers, giants, Jon Snow. It looks like a classic console game. Like if you looked at the old school Hollywood movie video games, this is what it reminds me of. But then it blew me away because this is a mobile title. I thought this was a console game. The entire time I'm watching, I'm like, yeah, I could totally play this on PlayStation. Nope, mobile game. Mobile game releasing in 2025. So definitely we'll have to try that out to see if like this is now where mobile games are at. Then we got the trailer for Mafia Old Country. And we got a lot of announcements this night, but this one is like top tier, S tier for me because this game looks beautiful. And I'm not the biggest Mafia fan. The New Orleans one was pretty cool, but like I'm definitely checking this game out. So Mafia Old Country will be set in the 1900s in Sicily. You're going to be playing as Enzo, who joins the crime family, kind of like a rags to riches story. And I think the thing I took away from this entire trailer is that the way that this game was shot or how this trailer was produced, it was so cinematic. Like, it looks like a period piece, but it also looks like a Scorsese film. Like, and granted, yes, we're seeing cutscenes and we're seeing a little bit of gameplay, but if they can capture like a Hollywood classic Scorsese feel into a video game, that's something I don't think we've ever seen in a game. And like, sign me up, dude. I'm all in. I think that this game is going to be one of the sleepers of 2025. And there's knife fights, there's shootouts. It's obviously going to be like an old school Mafia movie. So I think this looks fantastic. Mafia Old Country did give us a release window, summer of 2025, so mark your calendars there. We will definitely be checking that out. And then we got Elden Ring, which, what the fuck, guys? I now have so much egg on my face because of this announcement. Last week's show, we were like, oh, the studio basically said no Elden Ring 2. From Software was like, we're not interested in doing an Elden Ring 2. That was literally less than 7 days ago, and then what do we get? Elden Ring expansion? Come on, guys. Are we journalists or what? I had to go in the comment section and be like, yeah, I'm an idiot, because everybody jumped to our video last week and was like, oh, man, wait till he sees the Game Awards. Thanks, guys. I have so much egg on my face. Anyway, Elden Ring Nightreign is a co-op spin-off of Elden Ring. It's a slightly smaller Elden Ring map, and it's going to have waves of enemies that are randomized, and it's very interesting because like Souls gameplay, like Elden Ring, I'm always like, I have a strategy, I know what I'm doing when I go to fight these battles, but then you throw in like a friend, and it's like that changes the battle completely. Like, can they just be like throwing spells and shooting arrows from the side while I do all the hard work internally? It does evolve the game drastically, so super cool. It's going to be launching in 2025. Palworld was at the Game Awards, and they dropped a brand new trailer for their DLC Feybreak. It's going to have brand new pals, new biomes, a completely new island, new tools, new building materials, and it's all going to be launching very soon on December 23rd of 2024. The one thing I wish Jeff would have done with the Palworld announcement is that like while they were showing the new trailer is have a split screen and then showed like the Nintendo executives that were there at the Game Awards, because they were there. And I would have loved to see their reaction to this game and be like just sitting there casually as like Palworld's just taking over the genre. It's the one thing I think Jeff could have done differently. Obviously, I know he wouldn't have done it because it would damage his relationship with Nintendo, but I have to assume Nintendo was not happy about that game trailer being shown last night, considering the lawsuits. Outer Worlds 2 also dropped a trailer last night. Obviously, this is the comedic first-person shooter RPG game. It's back. The studio is saying it's going to be 2 times bigger than the previous one. I think that's super cool. We saw things like freezing guns where you can freeze your enemies and break them. There was like a leech gun that shot like bugs at your enemy. Super, really weird. The game looks great. I mean, it looks like Outer Worlds, more of what we've come to love from the first game. It looks like the comedy is coming, so it's super funny, super non-serious, which I think is what the Squanch game did so fantastically this year. Or was that last year? Shoot, was that last year? Yeah. Holy smokes. Yeah, so anyway, I love non-comedic, non-serious first-person shooters, and yeah, so this is more of it. And then the final announcement, which I think everyone is talking about here, is the new Naughty Dog game. Yeah, Intergalactic, the Heretic Prophet. This is Naughty Dog's brand new space IP that is set 1,000 years into the future. We got our first look at Jordan A. Munn, who's the main character. They're a bounty hunter. They're on a planet whose communication went dark hundreds of years ago, and she's trying to be the first person to capture her bounty and leave the orbit in 600 years. And at one point in the trailer, like Naughty Dog starts like listing their accomplishments, and it's like Crash Bandicoot, The Last of Us, Uncharted, and like going off and off. I'm like, yeah, okay, we get it. You guys have made great games. You've made every single one of my favorite games, right? Like Naughty Dog is one of those studios that they could literally come out with like Pet Rock Simulator, and I'll be like, Game of the Year, I'm playing it. I don't care. Naughty Dog, what they've done with Uncharted, they have a pass. Like Uncharted, Last of Us, Crash Bandicoot. You guys are Naughty Dog is one of those studios that is in a league of their own, and I cannot wait to play this game. The fact that they're going space is super cool because this will be a futuristic thing, right? Do we get lightsabers? We saw a little bit of like a laser sword to begin with, but like what else do we get? The gameplay kind of looked hack and slash, so are we going to get hack and slash mechanics, right? You do get some brawling and some shooting in Last of Us and Uncharted, but we've never really seen like a hack and slash fighting game. Dude. There is so much speculation surrounding this game. Neil Druckmann, who worked on Last of Us, is working on this game, and this game's going to be awesome. I cannot express it enough. I'm really, really excited about it. But anyway, the Game Awards, yeah, I mean, this was the best Game Awards, I think, in recent years. So kudos to Jeff, kudos to the team who worked on it. Let me know in the comment section what your favorite announcement was. Did I miss something? But we talked about a lot of games here, but we obviously have a lot of games to talk about here on the show. Games that aren't paying us $500,000 to talk about either. In fact, we're losing monetization by talking about games here because the music in their trailers cost us money. But anyway, brand new game trailer. This is a first-person narrative alien abduction horror video game called They Are Here. It looks super cool. Check it out.
My name is Taylor Fox. I am a journalist. Farmer Peter Sherman contacted me. He told me about terrifying, unexplained phenomena happening on his farm. I went there to investigate, but everything didn't go as planned. Although we agreed to meet, no one was home. From a note, I understood that the farmer's daughter Megan disappeared. His wife Susan started behaving strangely, as if someone was controlling her like a puppet. All the animals on the farm are sick, infected with some parasite. I found out that there was a secret military complex near the farm that nobody knew about. The military was monitoring the Sherman family. Something terrible happened here 30 years ago, after which a series of inexplicable events began. Now, I feel like someone is watching me. God, what have I gotten myself into?
Marvel Rivals literally dug up the lifeless corpse of CONCORD this week and just started like throwing bows at its face, just punching its head. And I like, look, this was well deserved because Marvel Rivals has been having a incredible launch. 72 hours post-launch, the game has 10 million players. That's massive. And the game has established itself as one of the top streamed games on Twitch, YouTube, Rumble, Kick, Snick Snack, Boom Boom, Glorby, and Foottack. Guess which one of those aren't real. Anyway, if you're not aware, the game is a 6v6 team-based multiplayer video game with Marvel heroes and villains, and each of them have super cool, like, unique powers and skills, and there's also, like, team mechanics, which is something I've never seen before, because Overwatch, I think, could greatly benefit from that. Like, what if, you know, you take two characters and put them together? How do they benefit off each other? Like, I saw videos this week of the Hulk grabbing Wolverine and chucking him halfway across the map, and he like lands and like spikes a dude. I saw a shark go underground and eat an entire team. There's a lot of cool mechanics here, and the game's doing fantastic. So kudos to the studio there. And I think it has a lot of studios and including people like myself looking at it and being like, if the 6v6 genre isn't dead, like I said it was, when CONCORD failed, I was like, maybe this genre is just done. Like, maybe Overwatch is kind of it for what we can do, and like maybe people are just wanting something new. Apparently, it's not the case. Marvel Rivals is doing well, so the 6v6 genre wasn't the problem. Well, then why did CONCORD, how could they not stick the landing here? I mean, just a friendly reminder, CONCORD was Sony's most ambitious game launch for this year. They launched it, and then it shut down 2 weeks later. The game internally was called Sony's Star Wars. Like, they wanted to blow this up into a multi-vertical genre for the studio, and like, the reports I read, Sony lost $400 million when it came to this game. It's nuts. And look, if you lose $400 million, you have to look at yourselves and be like, all right, who's getting fired? Right? Titus lost me $5 in a vending machine this week. I almost fired him on the spot. But I think it does raise the question, like, why did CONCORD fail and Marvel Rivals succeed? Well, Marvel Rivals game director Thaddeus Sasser, he joined the Video Gamer podcast and suggested that CONCORD failed because it couldn't bring any unique value. With Thaddeus specifically saying, as a game developer, you're always worried until the audience has responded. The truth is that I don't think anybody can accurately predict this or the game industry would be radically different today. There's a lot of games that come out that people are like, it's going to do well, and then it flops, and people come out and it's like, it's going to flop, and then it does extremely well. So I think it's really hard to tell ahead of time, and you're always worried about that. I think the trick is that you need to have that reason that people want to come and play your game. And I think Marvel Rivals does exactly that with superheroes. I don't know about you, but when I heard the concept of the game was like, oh my god, I want to go play Storm in the game, or I want to play Doctor Strange in the game. I want to be those heroes in the game. That sounds awesome. And of course, my mind immediately leapt to all the cool possibilities that you could have with that. That's what I think will pull people in as well too. If we've done our jobs well, they'll love what they play and they'll want to play some more. And look, I definitely agree with what he's saying here. Like, when you look at Marvel Rivals, you have established IP, right? CONCORD, I didn't know who any of these characters are, right? We talked about this with the Secret Level. Like, Secret Level has a CONCORD episode coming out, and it's like, they're finally establishing these characters after the game got killed, right? Imagine you get this awesome episode from Secret Level, and you're like, dope, I want to play this game, and then the game's available, like Shadow dropped that day. It's a completely different story. And, Thaddeus does kind of expand this a little bit by saying, with any of these games, there's a switching cost. I've already invested into Overwatch, and I've got like 15 skins that are Pharah. I'm not going anywhere. You're just going to stay in this game. So you have to give people a reason to switch, which raises the question that if established IP is what you need as a studio, is that all we're going to see in the future? Like, are we just going to get established IP? Like, are we just going to get another Hollywood era of video games where you have these characters? And does this mean that studios look at CONCORD and they're like, yeah, we're not going to invest in new IP? But I would raise the question that, hey, it's not about investing in new IP and not being able to do that. I think it's how you deliver it. I think you almost have to have a multimedia launch where it's like web comics, you have videos, you have even animated series that build these characters up. And I think you look at a game like Apex Legends. Apex Legends has so much lore surrounding their characters that it's like you could create an Apex Legends movie and people already know who those characters are. You don't need to do the intros. So again, I agree with what they're saying here of why Marvel Rivals succeeded was because it had a draw-in factor of Marvel Rivals. So you take that same game and you put anything else over it. I don't think it's having the successful launch that it's having. I think Marvel Rivals is successful because of Marvel. It's not successful because of the genre. It's successful because of what people know Marvel is, and they want to be those characters. If you took the CONCORD characters and put it over the mechanics in that game, I don't think we succeed here. But anyway, it's going to be very interesting to see how this story develops. I wonder if we're going to hear the team behind CONCORD like fire back. I jokingly said on the daily, like, this has the potential to be like the West Coast, East Coast beef here. Tupac, Biggie. Like, or is this going to be like going back and forth, shots fired? But I will obviously keep you guys posted if this changes at all. But before we jump into our next story talking about Grand Theft Auto 6, we do have another trailer to introduce you to. This one is a first-person post-apocalyptic MMO from GFA Games. Let's talk about Pioneer.
Many people believe that we have a purpose, as if we had been brought to Tartarus for some reason. themselves. Trust me, emissary. Will is the only thing that matters. It creates the hunger, aspiration, and the ability to challenge the island, to find a true desire. So, tell me, emissary, why are you here? What is your wish?
People that are just like me, the same kind of hellraisers. We fight savagely with each other on the garbage dumps, like to the death. We fight for the loot. You can end up dead anywhere, literally kicking the bucket in the closest ditch. Keep your eyes wide open, otherwise they'll chew you to pieces. There are plenty of monsters around here, and it just so happens that the most dangerous of them walk on two legs. In general, you're better off roaming around the island with your own people. Your buddies will be there to help if something happens. However, there are even scarier creatures dwelling here. Creepy experiments. Monsters capable of putting dozens of our brothers in their graves. Run away from those kinds. As far as you possibly can.
New Grand Theft Auto 6 details have come to light. Yes, welcome to GTA Watch. Man, as we get closer to this game, I feel like it's going to be every single week we're talking about Grand Theft Auto here. We might as well go to like Fiverr and pay some designer to put like a GTA ticker down here on the bottom that either has like a countdown to Grand Theft Auto 6 or it's just constantly just scrolling with random GTA news here. But anyway, this week's story, we got some brand new GTA 6 details to talk about, like possibly the game falling behind the release date and being delayed, along with some internal news that comes out of it. But anyway, this story comes from Bloomberg reporter, host of the Triple Click Pod, New York Times best-selling author of Play Nice, Press Receipts, and Blood, Sweat, and Pixels. Ladies and gentlemen, Mother Effin' Jason Schreier has new details of Grand Theft Auto 6. Just here's the quick bullet points so we don't have to break out the entire news. Multiple deadlines internally at Rockstar have not been met. The studio is planning to still launch the game in 2025, but it could easily slip into 2026. Rockstar has major plans for online microtransactions, similar to what we saw with Grand Theft Auto Online. Rockstar has asked the writers and producers to be less aggressive to transgender and other minorities. Grand Theft Auto 6 has been in the works since 2014, but 2018 the game entered full production, and the 2022 hack forced Rockstar to be more strict on remote work. A lot to break down there, so let's break down those individually. The first one, multiple deadlines have not been met internally, and the studio is still planning 2025, but could slip into 2026. This isn't breaking news here, but like this game is going to be 2026. I know it has a release date of 2025. No chance. I genuinely do not think that this game is coming in 2025. I think spring 2026 is where you put your bet on. Like if I could go to Vegas anytime soon and any of the casinos would let me make a bet on this, 100% would do it. Take me to Vegas. I'm saying spring of 2026. If there's already deadlines that are being missed, there's no chance that they're going to just rush this game and launch it. They're going to take the time that it needs to launch this because they understand how big of a bar Grand Theft Auto 5 set. they're not going to risk that, right? This is not a company that F's around. This is going to be a quality game at launch. The other note, Rockstar is planning on major online microtransactions similar to Grand Theft Auto Online. No shit. I'm sorry to use language here and swear, but like that should not be a surprise to anyone. Grand Theft Auto Online has made so much money, and GTA 5 has made like $8.5 billion in revenue for Take-Two. So yeah, this game's going to have online microtransactions. I'm sure they have artists that are designing clothes and shoes and tattoos and all of that behind the scenes. And I will probably be paying for that stuff as well. The other part, Rockstar has asked writers to be less aggressive towards transgenders and other minorities. You know, when you look at like the gaming community, this might be the story that I think is like the most controversial, because I think people are very much, for whatever reason, obsessed with the DEI narrative in gaming and like not, you know, sugarcoating things. And honestly, to me, this isn't an issue, right? Like Grand Theft Auto in the past is probably one of the most controversial games of all time. You can kill prostitutes, you can do drugs, you can do a lot of stuff in this game. So the idea that, you know, they're pulling punches, I can already predict it, right? The Happening is going to have a video where he's like, Grand Theft Auto 6 is losing its teeth. You know, it's not going to be as good because of this. It's like, guys, we don't have to punch all the time. This game can still be a banger without it having to make fun of transgender people or minorities. Like, it's still going to be a fantastic game. Grand Theft Auto 6 has been in development since 2014, but the game entered full production in 2018. Really, I mean, that's 10 years of production right there. So this game, you can tell the quality is going to be massive. I know we had the leaked trailer and the leaked gameplay, but that really doesn't surprise me. Like, it's going to be huge. I do remember when Red Dead Redemption 2 came out, I was streaming on Twitch, and somebody came into my chat, and they were like, oh, I just heard my buddy works at Grand Theft Auto 6. The game's coming out in 2020. And I was like, no chance. There's no chance. No chance in the world that Grand Theft Auto 6 is coming out in 2020. I don't even think it's coming out in 2025. It's 2026 for sure. And then the final note, 2022 hack forced Rockstar to be more strict on remote work. And look, I think around the world, you're seeing more and more people have to go back to work from working from home, and it's a big issue. But I think Rockstar and maybe even Take-Two had like the perfect Christmas gift dropped on their lap. That they're like, guys, we want you to come back to work. And people are like, we want to work from home. Why do we got to come to the studio? Let us just work from home. And they were just like, hey, y'all mother effers are getting hacked. Get in the studio or you're fired. And it's like, that's kind of like a Christmas present to the studio executives that they're like, no, this has to happen because of this. So it sucks. One person makes a mistake and everybody has to serve the punishment. It does suck there. But anyway, Grand Theft Auto 6, it's rumored and suggested to launch in 2025. I don't see that happening, but definitely some interesting updates. This is going to be the game of the year if it launches next year, and it's going to be all that everybody's talking about, so we will definitely be talking about it more. But enough about Grand Theft Auto. Let's talk about a brand new game. This one's really cool. It's a first-person hack-and-slash video game that was developed by one person. A one-person developed game, and trust me, when you see this footage, you're not going to believe it. So without further ado, here is Void. pretty big update to the Pokemon and Palworld lawsuit to talk about. In case you've been living under a rock, Nintendo is suing Palworld because Palworld is probably the best Pokemon game that has been released in the last generation without being a Pokemon game. And Nintendo is quite embarrassed by that. In fact, last time we spoke, the studio behind Palworld released the actual details to the lawsuit, and it was talking about how Nintendo was suing them over patent use for throwing a ball, riding mounts, and summoning monsters by throwing a ball. And Palworld, to their credit, is like, we're fighting this, but they've also made some changes in game to make sure Nintendo doesn't have a case at all. So one of them being is when you basically take a PAL sphere and you throw it. In the past, wherever you threw that ball, your PAL would appear, which Nintendo took issue with, which is so stupid, so petty. So stupid and so petty. But now, if you throw your PAL sphere, your PAL does not appear there. Your PAL just appears next to you. So there's no more long distance throwing to have your PALs distract other PALs while you fight them. Shout out to X-user Hunterman X-Human who showed off this mechanic perfectly in their video. Definitely not as cool as the original mechanic, but if this is what it takes for the studio to stay afloat, for the game to still be out, and for us to get Super DLC, go forward, mazel tov to y'all, and Nintendo, you can eat a dick. Look, I understand. That was probably the most petty thing I've said in a while, and it's probably not necessary and professional, and it's going to piss off Nintendo, but I hope Palworld continues. I'm a lifelong Pokemon fan. I've spent so much money on Pokemon trading card on my phone, and for years, I've just wanted a good Pokemon game, and I feel like we get the same garbage every single year. And at one time when I was 7, it was the greatest, most revolutionary game ever. It's not that way anymore. Technology has advanced so much that Palworld released a better Pokemon game than Pokemon can. And look, Pokemon just feels old. Even watching the new trailer for the Palworld DLC, I'm just like, this looks a million times better than any of the Pokemon games we've gotten in a while. And Pokemon just feels old. That's what it feels. And I really hope that with Nintendo's new console coming next year, that they step it up and maybe the new technology gives us the Pokemon game we've always wanted. But until then, Palworld's got my support, man. Support the developer, follow them on social media, like their videos, download the game, play it, give them all the support they need, man. And look, play the game. That's the important thing. Play Palworld. If you disagree with Nintendo here, play the Palworld game. Give them the support, because the more players they have, the more undeniable that they can be. And don't forget, the new Palworld DLC launches on December 23rd. Don't sleep on that one. Now up next, we have a new game trailer that I'm very, very excited about. And I think it's super cool. We have a brand new fighter video game. However, this is an action figure fighting game called Knockoff.
Nostalgia reignites cherished memories from our childhood, such as reminiscing about our favorite toys. Among all the exciting playthroughs, one question perpetually lingers. Who truly reigned as the strongest? Brace yourself, for the answer is about to unfold.
The Nintendo Switch 2 has leaked online again, thanks to a case manufacturer. Yeah, the Nintendo Switch 2 is coming next year. That's not a surprise to anyone. And look, the internet sleuths have been scouring the interwebs for whatever evidence, images, blurry pixels that they can find to be like, we found the Switch 2, look! But this one might be the best, because I've got to assume whoever discovered this must have Switch 2 put on Google reports that they get emails every day for every time Switch 2 is mentioned, which our video will appear in that. Hi. But Twitter user Centro Leaks brought this to my attention. They shared the screenshots over on X that show the potential of a Switch 2 with a case. And look, this isn't the Switch 2. So for audio listeners, I'll describe this to you. This is the case for a Switch 2. The case itself is light blue. It's got a slightly larger screen than my Nintendo Switch OG has. And it doesn't really look like it's a new console as much as it looks like a refreshed hardware design for the Switch 2. And look, one of the responses to this cracked me up. It said, Nintendo Switch 2 unconfirmed, but this is a case confirmed. And I'm like, yes, this isn't the Switch 2. It's a case for the Switch 2. So, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of speculation around this. There's a lot of interest because, dare I say, Switch 2 might be the biggest hardware story of 2025. Everybody is looking to this, and I genuinely can't wait to buy it. I'm already putting money into the company savings account to make sure we can buy this the day it launches. And, you know, it's rumored to be announced in like January, February. So we are very close to seeing this thing firsthand. And then the release date's March or April. So literally having it in our hands within the next 3 to 4 months, that is massive. So if you're watching the show and you're interested in this, definitely start saving your money now. If you get any money for Christmas or the holidays, definitely put it into a savings account because the Switch 2 is coming and I hope it's affordable. All right, moving on to our final game trailer for the show. This one is an open world witch tech video game from Electric Saint. Let's talk about Crescent County.
My name is Anna Hollenrake, and I've had a video game living in my head since 2017. I need to make it. We are Electric Saint, and this is that video game.
Xbox now is allowing users to stream the games they already own to their consoles. Yeah, this broke kind of halfway through the week, but I wanted to talk about it here on the show since I know there's a lot of cloud gamers that are interested in what we talk about. This feature is the Xbox pretty much play anywhere concept, right? Like this is an Xbox, that's an Xbox, my phone's an Xbox. What we're seeing here is previously when they released the feature, it was only for your computer, your phone, your tablet, your handheld, or any device that had a web browser. So we weren't really able to do it with our consoles yet, but now we can. So now Xbox insiders are able to test this out. Essentially, any of the games that you own that are not on Xbox Game Pass, there was that gigantic list that came out a couple weeks ago. You can stream those games to your consoles without having to install them. Kind of feels a little redundant, but still cool. I mean, this is more of a streaming stick smart TV feature. Doesn't really feel necessary for a console unless you're playing like on the Xbox One, which I don't even know if you can do it on your Xbox One. We might have to test that out this week because I know there's a lot of Xbox One cloud users who are like benefiting from this. So anyway, other caveat we definitely want to mark here is you still need your Xbox Game Pass Ultimate subscription. So there's still no cloud tier for Xbox Game Pass. Maybe we see that come in 2025. But yeah, so if you are an Xbox Game Pass Ultimate subscriber, if you're an Xbox insider and you want to test this out, try it out firsthand. It's available right now. You can stream the games you already own via the cloud to your consoles thanks to the power of Xbox Cloud Gaming. But anyway, that's going to wrap up today's show. Thank y'all so much for joining us. As the holiday approaches, I'm assuming the news is going to slow down, and I obviously have some family coming into town this weekend and next week, so the content here might be a little light, but we're still going to try to get out our daily episodes along with the podcast next weekend, and keep producing as much content as we can for y'all to enjoy. And thank you guys for your support. Special shout out again to the Nerf Gaming friends who make this show 100% possible. And until next time, I will see y'all in the next video.